Is this as complete a game as your team has played in a while?
Yeah, no doubt. I thought it was a mature hockey game from the group. Managed pucks well. Yeah, overall good 60 minutes.
Expand a little bit more on that in the third period here. Just trying to protect the lead against the desperate hockey club and spending most of the time in the offensive end.
Yeah, I think you said it best there. We grinded out in the ozone there in the third. When you have a 2-goal lead like that, you want to keep pucks low, be mature, and that's what happened there.
Walk us through just your goal. It bounced off a bunch of things and just landed on your stick. What were you seeing there?
Yeah, I don't even really know how that worked out there. I saw the puck up in the air, and then it was in the goal line, and go to the net. Good things happen. So yeah.
How nice was it just for you? You haven't scored, I think, since the third game of the season, just to find the back.
Yeah, I was gonna say it takes a greasy one like that to get the slump out of the way, but yeah, it feels good to get that one. Quick and easy.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to put it. I think the way we played in the second and third, I think that's kind of what we were trying to achieve lately. That wasn't as good, and you know what? I think it was also kind of a bit of a weird games. It's either we dominate them in their zone or they did for long time of the game. But I mean, we stuck with it. We played our game the whole way, and when we do that, we like we always say, we give ourselves the best chance, and we got it done tonight.
How would you describe that third period in particular from your team?
It was perfect. We didn't give them a whole lot. Obviously, they got a lot of talent, a lot of skills. They're going to get some chances, but the way we played it is the way we got to play every night is not giving them a whole lot, not giving them time and space, and we didn't give them a whole lot of easy entrance, knowing they have a lot of off the rush players and that like to make plays. And no, we did a really good job at that. So obviously, 2 games in two nights ish, and to get 2 wins, it's big.
How did it feel for you lining up with Jordan Spence? We noticed the change partway through the game.
Yeah, it was good. I mean, it was fun. He's a good player. We thought we played really well. We didn't give him anything or barely anything. So it's, I mean, that's a goal every night is try to do your job as best you can in your own zone. And I mean, playing with him is just we both like having the puck. We both talk to each other and share the puck a lot. And when you do that, I think you break the puck out most times, and you end up not spending a whole lot of time in your zone. So no, it was only a sample of it, but it went well.
Was there any message from Green just when you put you guys together?
No, nothing. It kind of just happened in the second. Clev had a little bit of a longer shift, and it ended up being me and Spence going up, and then he scored on that shift, and it kind of went from there. And no, like I said, I thought we were pretty good.
Even if he hasn't played every game, how would you describe Jordan Spence's game from an offensive standpoint, what he brings on that side?
It's great. The poise he has, the vision, the hockey sense he's got is amazing, and obviously kind of knew that hearing from him when he played back in juniors, but no, I mean, it's not an easy possession. Obviously, everybody wants to play every single night, and for him to come in the last 2 games, even yesterday, yes, he had a goal and an assist tonight, but I mean, yesterday, the way he played and the way he played both ways up the ice, that's what we try and do here as a team and be good, and I mean, all credit goes to him.
Is there much of an adjustment for you switching partners midway through a game like that?
Not really, no. Obviously, at times you kind of want to get some reps and get used to it, like we always say during training camp and things. But I think when you're in the middle of the game, it's kind of just happens. And like I said, I mean, Spenny's just so smart with the puck, moves the puck so well. So being on this side, it's an easy job.
What's it been like? The grande différence aujourd'hui, deuxième, troisième période surtout?
Je pense que c'est juste la façon qu'on a joué. Je pense qu'on a continué de jouer notre agressif dans un sens que je devrais dire, c'est de ne pas donner de temps, pas d'espace à l'autre équipe. Puis on a fait un bon travail de ça. La deuxième, je pense, dernièrement, dans les derniers matchs, c'est quelque chose qu'on faisait moins bien. Puis de l'avoir fait ce soir pour la deuxième, troisième, ça nous a donné la victoire ce soir.
Tu en parlais de Spence, comment c'était de jouer avec lui, peut-être l'ajustement, peut-être ça a demandé?
Oui, pas nécessairement d'ajustement, mais je pense non, ça a bien été. Je trouve qu'on a bien joué. On a tout de suite trouvé de la chimie ensemble de supporter dans les deux sens de la patinoire, dans la zone défensive. Puis comme j'ai dit tantôt, je pense que c'est un joueur qui est bon avec la rondelle, c'est un joueur qui est bon avec la rondelle. Fait que quand on est sur la même page, on supporte des deux bords, je pense qu'on sort la rondelle de la zone. Fait qu'on finit par pas passer beaucoup de temps dans notre zone. Mais comme j'ai dit, je pense que c'était un petit sample, une moitié de game ou peut-être un peu plus. Mais non, je trouvais que ça a bien été.
Comment décris-tu Jordan comme un gars dans ce vestiaire, comme un des nouveaux joueurs pour les Sénateurs?
C'est un gars qui a fité dans la chambre dès le début. Tu sais, veut pas avec la GMQ, on se connaissait un petit peu, il connaissait déjà plusieurs joueurs, mais non, c'est une personnalité. C'est pas le gars qui est le plus bruyant, mais je pense que tout le monde apprécie. Je pense que la façon qu'il était professionnel, comme tu parlais tantôt, depuis le début de la saison, je pense que tous les gars dans la chambre respectent ça énormément. Puis non, c'est un très bon coéquipier, on l'aime tous.
Yeah, I felt really good. I think I've had good chances throughout the 7 games that I had, especially in the first game. And, obviously putting that in, it felt really good.
Nice to have your father, Adam, watch that one.
Yeah, no, he's here, and he's here till Sunday, so, next Sunday, so, but, at the same time, I'm really happy that the team won, and, yeah, it's also great that my dad was here to see the goal.
Has he seen any of your other NHL goals? An odd question, but I know from out in the West Coast.
That's a good question. I don't think he has, to be honest with you. So I think that was his. Yeah, that was his first time seeing it live.
It took you 28 games last year when you were still in LA to get 7 points. You've managed to reach that total in 7 games here. Even if you've been in and out of the lineup, what do you think's been working with you in this environment?
I just want to keep my confidence when I'm on the ice. I think that's like the most important thing. I just don't want to be, if I get scratched, I don't want to come back and kind of just not be confident and not play my game. I just want to play my game every time I'm on the ice. And I have great deep pairings. I played with Clev, I played with Shabby, and they're really easy to work with. So kudos to them. And obviously, it's always good to have that chemistry. And I just want to keep that going, keep building that. Yeah, I mean, it's great. At the end of the day, I want to play every game, and I want to be an impact on the game, and I want to help the team win. So that's my goal every time. It's I'm taking it day by day and just going from there.
You mentioned that familiarity with Thomas. When the pairings are changed and you find yourself lining up with Thomas, what's the first thing that's going through your head?
I mean, he's a great player. He's smooth. He can skate. But for me, I just want to complement each other, and I think we did that pretty well tonight. We moved the puck well, so when we're in the offensive zone, I know where he is, he knows where I am, so I really liked our game together.
You made some good hits yesterday too. Is that something you want to add to your game?
I mean, I just want to make the right play. I'm not a big guy, but if the hit's there, I'm gonna hit. And I've been like that ever since I was up in the NHL. When it's there, I'm going to hit, and when it's not there, I'm not going to go out of my way and hit. But I want to bring that aspect of the game as well.
How challenging is it just to be in and out of the lineup and not either feel like you have something to prove every time you're in there?
Yeah, I mean, it is challenging. It gets to you mentally sometimes, but you just got to take that aside and, just focus on yourself every day when you come into the rink. Either you're playing or not, I just want to go out there and practice, and even at the gym to just improve on my game. And that's what I have to do. I just got to have a positive mindset every day. And, when I do that and when I'm confident on the ice, good things happen. So I just want to keep that going as myself as well.
As a new player on this team, does it make the adjustment to being with the group that much harder of not playing every game?
No, it actually hasn't. The guys here are great. I knew some of the guys before coming in, and it's at the end of the day, we're all great teammates, and we want to get along with each other, and I think we already have great chemistry with our team, and obviously when that happens with myself, it's fine. You just gotta take it one day at a time, and that's kind of that's one of my quota every day is just take it one day at a time and control the controllables and just work on what you have to improve on. Yeah, thank you.
Describe this as one of your more complete games of the season, and in particular, the third period.
Yeah, it was a solid game. That's a quick team over there. I thought the first period was a little bit, we did some good things, but their speed, was an advantage for them in part of that period as well. I thought they were on top of us a couple times, made us play in our own zone, but I thought we adapted to their speed, our defense made a few adjustments, and I like the rest of our game for sure.
Kind of feel like he got better as the game went
Yeah.
on too.
Yeah, I think, you talk about quick teams. You can tell your guys that, you got to be ready for their speed, but, until you feel it. But I thought our guys raised their game.
Speaking of adjustments, what made you want to put Chabot and Spence together?
Give Bomber credit. We talked after the first that we thought, our pairings were struggling a bit. We weren't getting pucks out, and when you tell your D coach that, he's got to that's kind of a way of saying make some changes, and that was on him. So give him credit. I thought this switch helped our game.
What do you think? What worked for that pairing?
I just thought we switched. Both guys played well. I thought Jensen Clark played well too the rest of the game, and it was good to see.
Even if Jordan's been in and out of the lineup, he has found opportunities to produce for this team.
Yeah.
What does it mean to you that even if he's not playing every day, it seems when you do put him in the lineup, he does find a way to contribute?
Yeah, I think in the past I've talked about it we've chased the game when he's produced in the Buffalo game, and tonight was a real solid game for him. It wasn't one of those games where it's all of a sudden you're trying to create offense. It was a hard-fought game, and a player like him can create, and I was happy for him tonight.
Like Levy Merlin's.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, where I'm going. So.
Yeah, he was great tonight too. We had a lot of good efforts, guys that stepped up. That you talk about Levy, Spence, Ammo's been playing good as of late. Nice to see Rids get on the board. But I was happy for Levy tonight. That's 2 good games in a row.
I was going to say, do you think he has his confidence back? Is that in the?
Yeah, he'd speak better. As far as his confidence, but he's looked sharp the last few games.
What did you like just from Cousins and Greig and that line?
Yeah, that line was good tonight. I like Cuzzy's game too. I just played a heavy game. Controlled the puck. I think against this team, you don't want to play a run and gun game. You got to make them spend some time in their zone, and to do that, you've got to own some pucks down there. And I thought that line did a good job of it.
You mentioned Michael Amadio, goals in 4 straight.
Yeah.
What are some things you've noticed in his game that you feel he's done right that have kind of led to a
Well, he always plays a pretty solid game, Ammo. He's a real smart player. He can play good and not play his best with his smarts, and I just think he's done a better job of being a little harder on the puck, on the walls. His wall work tonight was fantastic. And it's funny, if you check well, if you do a lot of simple things well in your own zone, even reloading out of the other zone, playing smart, hard hockey, you end up getting chances at the other end, and that's a good example.
How much of an advantage is it for you just as a coach when you can put out that line of Pinto, Giroux, and Amadio, and they can defend and also create offense?
Yeah, it's obviously, you like having it, a dependable line that can score. I think G's kind of flown under the radar. He's having a good year. I like the pace in his game right now, and he's smart. He understands what his role is when he's in certain spots, and that's probably the only line that I haven't touched for a little while. So you guys know me, that when that happens, some good things are happening.
Another game where your team does really well in the face-off circle, and Tim Stutzle gets 73% of a win rate. What's the most noticeable difference you've noticed in his approach to face-offs this year compared to when you had him last year?
I don't know if I can notice anything. I think it's just the maturity of a player. Guys get better when they're in the league longer. Younger guys usually struggle in face-offs. And you get, not only your strength as you become a man, but knowledge. little tricks of the trade. So that's a big part of it as well.
Travis, a few years ago, an injury to, like with Brady, might have rattled this team.
Yeah.
How would you say they've handled it sort of on and off the ice since he's been out the last few weeks?
One thing about Brady, he's been around. It's not like he's missing. He's around a lot. He's been traveling with the team. But I think we've always we don't really talk about it. As much as we want him in the lineup, we've got players that can play. Just that next man up mentality. We're not looking to use excuses. You got to win with injuries in the league.
How do you think this group has managed the ups and downs of this season, considering what general expectations have been like for your group? You say pressure is a privilege all the time, but
Yeah.
I'm curious from your vantage point how this group has handled it.
Pretty well. We're it's a hard league. It's not an easy league to win every game. Just because you make the playoffs one year, it doesn't mean you're automatically in the next year. A lot of things got to happen. Your game's got to be consistent. You're going to have some ebbs and flows to the season, and there's still no guarantees. And I think our group understands that. Could we have a few more wins? Probably. Our game hasn't been perfect. No one's game is perfect. And when you look at the East, it's going to be a grind. It's going to be a grind the whole way through, and we're not worried about the end. We're just worried about the next game, and I think that's kind of the approach we've kind of taken from day one.